Well, good morning. Is it good morning where you are? Is it good afternoon or is it good evening? I feel like the Truman Show. How are you? It is Wednesday, August the 13th. It is one of my daughter's birthday. So I'm going to just... The birthdays come thick and fast in the Marsden household. Yes, they do. How are you today? And I'm going to talk about two things today on the show. I'm going to talk about what is going on. What is happening around the world. There's some crazy stuff going on around the world in one particular area. Now, I'm going to see if you guys can guess what area I'm going to talk about. What area does things just not make sense? Hey, Boomer. Crockett coffee. Oh, yeah. It's only my third cup of the day. That's pretty good for me. I gotta say, it's pretty good. Three. Well, there is that, by the way. Zephyr talking about the COVID vaccine and the side effects from the COVID vaccine. But, I'm not even going to talk about that. I'm not going to talk about that today. JMC says nothing makes sense. You'd be right about that one. The Texas legislation, that doesn't make sense either. There's a lot, actually, that doesn't make sense. But what I want to say initially is I saw a video. I actually put it on X. I'll try and pull it up in a little bit, where they talk about the net immigration into Canada. And it goes, woof, like that, like right off the chart. What is going on? What is going on with Commonwealth countries importing people, I say people, mainly males, and a very interesting thing to think about here is in the migrant camps, they don't allow these single males to mix with the families. Why is that? Crockett coffee. They must think we're bonkers. I've got to tell you, there's... let me look at what the guy's name is now. I got it wrong. I want to say it right. Okay. Konstantin Kisin. Right. Konstantin Kisin. If you haven't seen his interview with Tommy Robinson, go and watch it. Not right now. I was going to say, go and watch it right now. Don't do it right now. Do it afterwards. But I think that both Brits and Americans need to watch that interview. Because the way Tommy Robinson is being treated is unbelievable. Now, one of the things that we've said as Republicans is be very careful what you wish for. When the Democrats, if you remember, they were talking about expanding the Supreme Court. Well, they'd be shitting themselves right now, right, if they tried to expand the Supreme Court, because we'd have more Supreme Court justices, although we can talk about how shit some of their rulings have been and questionable. But they always go quiet. Like, they don't now think that expanding the Supreme Court is a good thing, because they've shut up about it. Because if it was a good thing for America, you talk about it the whole way through. But the left doesn't talk about that because it doesn't benefit them now. But what we try and do as Republicans and conservatives, I say conservatives because sometimes I'm like, I'm not a Republican, man. Like, what you guys are platforming, I'm a conservative. We talk about things in a way that is beneficial for everyone in America. That's the difference. They talk about things regarding power. We talk about things in a general sense, like whether something's going to infringe on your liberties. Why am I saying that? Well, because right now it helps the left to demonize Tommy Robinson. But these online safety laws that they're putting in, which, let's be honest, what they're trying to do is to shut the British people up. Because right now, the British people are pissed off in a giant way. So what we try to do is to say, sorry, I just got a little message there that I read and I agree with. But anyway, we are looking at let's say the impact of the online safety bill that could eventually benefit a conservative government. And we don't want that, because we don't want it to benefit a conservative government, because freedom is what is important. True freedom, not us winning like the left. True freedom is what is important. And so the majority of conservatives believe in a small government. The more that the government gets involved in your life, the less we like it. But that is a absolutely consistent approach. It's a consistent mantra. It's a consistent ideology. Is less government. We don't want you in our business. So if it looks like there is going to be a change of government, so someone like Nigel Farage will get him. The reason why I said Nigel Farage on X is not the answer is because he said we can't deport all these people. And he's wrong. I would even get giant catapults. Like, well, I don't care. Deport them all. Crockett Coffee. Matthew 20 for your discount. Go do it. Matthew 20. If you watch the guys at Trigonometry, like I said, Constantine has really hit on something here. They're smart guys, right? They're absolutely smart guys. And I don't know if you saw it, but they did another video, which I watched yesterday. And that video shows a bunch of people protesting in Canary Wharf. Canary Wharf, so just for you guys to know, for Americans to know, Canary Wharf was where really the first British skyscraper was built. I was actually in a hotel opposite Canary Wharf. It's on the Thames when 9/11 happened. So they've decided that they're going to put these migrants in $600 a night rooms. $600 a night. Because people were pissed off that they were putting them all in these people were pissed off that they were putting them into working class areas. So what they thought was, well, we'll put them into a nice area now. Now, if you go to the City of London, the City of London in the day is very busy. The City of London at night is busy. The City of London at the weekends used to be dead, right? Because it's all businesses. There's not many houses there. So what I think they've done is they've thought, well, even though this isn't the City of London, it's across the street. I think that what they're saying is, let's put them in there. People won't really notice because they don't live here. Well, but people do live there. And people are noticing that what they're doing, they're moving them into, I mean, think about this, guys. It's £400 a night, the hotel they're in, which is around $600. That is mental. It's mental. Your money. And what's interesting is Constantine shows two sides. I wish I had a link to the video because I'd show you. They have two sides of the street. And he goes up and he asks the blue-haired freaks, will you come and talk to me and tell me what you're protesting? Like, get your message out. And they're like, we're not talking to you. He's like, I've got a podcast that has 1 million people watch it. Oh, we're not talking to you. And he says, he's very calm. He goes, I don't understand this. Like, you want to get your message out, but you don't want to get your message out. That's because they don't know what they're talking about. And someone there, I got to tell you, if you watch the video, it gave me massive amounts of encouragement because the British people are actually pretty well informed. And what some of the people are saying in the interviews is totally based, and they get it. They're like, they're funded by guess who? They're waking up. They're waking up, and that has got to be giving the British government absolute kittens at night. They've got to be absolutely shitting themselves because you've got a bunch of people now that are super well informed. And they're like, we're not accepting this. They can't get away from it. They're trying to shuffle them and move them around, but you've got citizen journalists going out there. They're not getting away with this anymore. And I cannot be more proud of the country that I was born and raised in. You guys rock. Because I know it's different. I know what it's like over there. The British people are, almost to a person, polite. They don't want to rock the boat. But the boat is sinking. But if you see the left doesn't want to discuss anything with Constantine. They just brush him off. Everybody on the right talks. They all say, there's a woman there and she says, look, you know, this is the Great Reset. It's this and blah, 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 blah. The reason why I'm saying what is happening, why is it that mass immigration to former British colonies is happening on a massive scale? This isn't just like a few people. This is millions of people. And millions of people who you can't vouch for. This is insane. It's insane. When you go and get someone to do plumbing on your house, what do? You go and you look at the reviews or you get word of mouth. That's a frigging plumber. If you found out that that plumber was from Syria and he had ISIS ties, would you have him come and fix your faucet? I don't think so. You'd be like, no, I don't think so. That's not happening. This is insane. And I asked the other day, like, is it intentional or incompetence? I have to say, I think it's intentional. I think they're cowards, but it's intentional. And what's funny is if you go and watch that video, I urge you to go and watch that video. They're doing like God's work there, right? It's amazing. There's a young black girl there and she's just spouting talking points, right? You can tell that she's clearly well-intentioned. And this is the difficulty when you're dealing with evil people, is they can manipulate good people to doing things. Because if you're talking to someone, let's say she talks about the Windrush, talks about the Caribbeans, people from the Caribbean coming to the UK. If you have been told that your people have been used, and you look at what's going on right now in the UK and you compare it and you think it's a favorable comparison to what happened years ago with immigration, with people coming from the West Indies, which is just a completely ridiculous comparison. But if you think that it's the same, of course you're going to go out and protest for that to be okay. Of course you're going to go out and defend those people, because you're going to hear stories about what it was like. By the way, none of my friends gave a shit about any of that. Like, none of my friends ever gave a damn about whether you were Jamaican or, you know, from Grenada. Nobody cared. Nobody cared. But I can understand it. And listen, my grandfather, this is what people don't really understand, and it's dismissed because he's white, was white. My grandfather came to the UK from Ireland. He was an immigrant. And I think it was my grandmother's so that's on my mum's side, which I only really had dealings with on my mum's side, because as you guys know, who follow me, I've got to be careful now, because if I say, as you know, people go, how are we supposed to know? We don't know everything about you. I'm talking to the people that follow me and come onto the show. All right. So don't get your knickers in a twist. But my granddad came over, and I think it was my grandmother on my mum's side, either her parents or her grandparents were Irish as well. So on one side of my family, we are absolutely from immigrants. And I'm an immigrant. And I'm married to an immigrant. It's funny, isn't it, when they call you a racist, you're like, hang on a minute, worst racist ever. It's not about that at all. I'm going to take this moment right now to talk about my sponsors, Crockett Coffee. Here we go. I'm going to have some more. And again, I want to say this, that I did ask people before I decided to take a sponsorship. I was like, hey guys, listen, I don't really want to take a sponsorship, but someone's come to me and they're really legitimate and I like the product, because you guys know I drink coffee, a lot of coffee. And everyone on my channel said, go do it. So here I am doing it. So this is a company that was started by the most awesome Buck Sexton and his brother Mason. And this company, I think it reflects the people that started it. It's about, standing proudly with the conservative economy and supporting values-based and driven businesses in America with people that refuse to compromise. So if you like that kind of thing, which I do, and also a bonus is they give 10% of the net profits goes to Tunnels to Towers. So that's for veterans and first responders. So it's a really, really great company. And as you know, like that's everything that I'm saying in here is completely aligned with my values and the fact that I love coffee, and it's really great coffee, and it's been roasted by a father and son team. So it's family as well. So anyway, Crockett Coffee, Matthew 20, you get 20% off the store-wide, and it's really great. I've got some here, look. So I've got the dark roast, which is, I told you it's my thing. I like dark roast. Did you know, a little bit of trivia, did you know that the lighter roast has more caffeine in it? I just like the taste of dark roast. And then they got like mushroom coffee again. I still haven't tried it. I've still got to get my head around mushroom coffee, but I know a few of you have mushroom coffee. So anyway, Matthew 20, there's a link, and my amazing, what can I call it? Are you a patroller? How do they say that? Zephyr has been putting up the links to Crockett Coffee. So let's get out there. Let's support a conservative company. Get some money to Tunnel to Towers. You're going to buy your coffee anyway. You don't want to give it to like the people that hate you. We've got to stop doing that. So anyway, Crockett Coffee. There you go. Anyway, you guys said if I come across someone that has the same values and they want to sponsor me, do it. So there you go. They are growing the show, and Buck Sexton's a personal friend of mine as well. So that came out of nowhere. I was very, very flattered, by the way, and surprised. So totally in line with the values and what I do. Crockett Coffee. There you go. Anyway. It's very strange, isn't it, that there's this mass migration. They're not keeping the same people together, like as in people from the same area. They're separating them from these families. Why are they doing that? And there was a really, really, I can't remember who made the argument now, but I want you to think about this. These people have moved from a lot of times they go through Italy. And I'm just saying, listen, if I'm a migrant, and I end up I love England. I love England, right? But I'm staying in Italy. If I land in Italy, I can go, not that they're going to go skiing, right? But Italy has everything. Italy has everything you want. But they don't stay there because, and now it's got a different government. But if you're the Italian government and you're like, why would I want to stop them here? I've got to deal with it. Let them go through because they only want to get to the next country anyway. And then let them go through France. And then they end up in England. And all the good migrants, like your doctors, your nurses, because there are people that are doing that, like legitimately want to get away. Your doctors, your nurses, your engineers, anyone that are productive, they're productive to society. What happens? Those countries keep them because they need those people in the same way that we do, whether you like it or not. People got mad at me the other day about the H-1B visa. I don't think we should have H-1B visas, but the fact is, we're getting woke people come out of our colleges, and DEI is bringing down the quality of students. All right? So we have a problem there, and let's acknowledge it. So if we can get really great engineers, listen, the engineers from like Egypt, India, they're excellent. They're excellent. And this is why it's so bad that we've let DEI get into our colleges, because now you don't trust them. I mean, look, I'll tell you this. If I've got an Indian or a Pakistani doctor, I know they're going to be good. And that's just because of the family dynamic where they are pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. Do we have a troll? All right, let's I'm going to deal with something that was said in the messages. Infamous sex offender Ghislaine Maxwell was moved to a much nicer prison recently. Sex offenders aren't eligible for the prison she was moved to, but Trump and his DOJ made a special exception for it. Okay. Now, let me just break this down to you. I don't know if you noticed, but we just found out that actually, apparently there are no perpetrators to the crimes that they're alleging. They're victims, but no perpetrators, right? Now, you could go in and say, well, why because it was under the Biden administration that a lot of stuff went missing. Again, I want to get into this a little bit because I think there's something else going on here. But the only way that the DOJ can get the perpetrators, this is the only thing that makes any sense whatsoever, is if Ghislaine Maxwell spills the beans. Now, if you're Ghislaine Maxwell and you're in a prison, you're going to demand some stuff. Like, whether you like it or not, if there aren't any perpetrators to a crime, it's going to be very difficult to keep that woman in prison, right? They'll get on, what she did herself. But if there are victims, but there are no perpetrators, how can there be any victims? We've said this over and over again. When they came back, they went, we don't know who they are. Like, that's bullshit. Somewhere, if there was a victim, there's a perpetrator. Now, could it be that the Biden administration destroyed all that? Yeah. And if you listen to what Trump has been saying, he's been alluding to that. So what's the next course of action? You do a deal with the person who's in jail because the other person's dead. You do a deal with the person in jail to spill the beans. How do you get them to spill the beans? You have to give them concessions. So whether you like it or not, you have to do that. Otherwise, she's going to say, what's the benefit for me? This happens every single day. It happens every day in law. hey, listen, you could get 30 years for, drugs, but we'll give you a 10-year suspended sentence if you tell us where the drugs came from. All right. So what do you expect? I don't understand this. What do you expect? You have to incentivize someone to do something. The way I see it right now, we're lucky that she's not getting out altogether if there are no perpetrators. Imagine somebody robbed my house, or you helped someone rob the house. Who robbed the house? I don't know. I robbed the house. It doesn't make any sense. All right. So the fact is that the DOJ is making moves right now to get the names out. The only location that we know of the names right now is here in her brain. So how are you going to get it out? Oh, Courtney. Courtney's coming with the flattery again. I love it. Thank you very much. So, as much as we want these people to swing, you got to be realistic. So I get it. It's another way to batter Trump. It's another way to have a go at Trump. Like, what is he doing? We shall see. Trust me, you won't find anyone. We are the party that wants justice. You are the guys that want to weaponize justice. All right? You're the party that doesn't want parents to be told if their kids are going to change their sex. We're not. We think that's abhorrent and evil. So, let's just look at the track record a little bit. And by the way, as I've said multiple times, Trump helped the FBI. Trump banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago. Zephyr, this is where they have no logic. If you're right, if they'd have anything on Trump, you don't think they would have rolled that out already? It's just very silly. It's very, very silly. But, they're going to keep bringing this out. What I think there's something deeper happening right now. I don't know exactly what it is, but I think that this move in DC that Trump is doing, there's something else going on there. It's not just about the violence. Something else going on there. I think it's going to be necessary. This isn't something necessary to either when something comes out, there's going to be a lot of trouble, or they're trying to corral people. We'll see. We'll see. This is not what it seems. It's not what it seems. All right. So I'm going to segue a little bit, something completely different. All right. You ready, guys? So this was something I just heard this morning. I was actually in a meeting earlier on and I didn't see it live. So here we go.
Next, we look forward to honoring three-time Oscar nominee, Golden Globe Award winner, an action movie icon, and a friend of mine. He's a very unique man. He's somebody that doesn't do these things. I said, I wonder if he'll accept, because some people don't really want to be honored. They don't care. But he was very honored to be honored, I will tell you. He's a very special guy. A real talent, never been given the credit for the talent. There was nobody else could have done the roles that he did like he did. I'm not even close, and they've tried, and they didn't work out too well. His name is Sylvester Stallone. So it's very few, almost, if any, people that could have taken a name and made it so incredible, like Rocky, Rambo, Creed.
You know something I love almost as much as I love America? is a great
Don't
deal.
mind
Also,
PragerU.
novelty socks.
Come on, guys.
and others, but think of it, Rocky, Rambo, if you did one, you're good. You do two, and I'll never forget, I was a young guy, and I went to see a thing called Rambo, and it had just come out. I didn't know anything about it, but I was in a movie theater, like we used to go to movie theaters a lot, and I said, this movie is phenomenal, what the heck? And that turned out to be a monster. Rocky is Rocky. I mean, the way that happened, you know, Sly had no money, nothing, and he went around, and everybody wants to do a boxing movie. It's the most, you know, probably more than any other type of character, boxing, always boxing. It's so great. And there's rarely been anything like this one. John Voight did a great one, as you know. Champ, great. I think that was right there, too. John Voight's a phenomenal person, phenomenal actor. But Sly came in and he had no money. He wrote a script along with thousands of other people writing scripts on a boxer. And for some reason, a studio picked up this and liked it. And Sly he's in an old car that he came in from Brooklyn or someplace in New York, but I think Brooklyn. It barely made it to California. He was sleeping in the car. I mean, he had nothing. And he wanted control over who the actor was going to be, because he said it can't be successful if you're going to pick a movie actor with a bad build, okay? A nice face, but a bad body. And he said, I can't have these guys, because he's a tough cookie, and he knew exactly what it took. He knew what a boxer's body was. So they brought him one, and I won't tell you who it was, but it was a big name, but the chest wasn't exactly what you need. One shot, and your heart would pop out. That wasn't too good. Then he did another one. He was
Trump,
fat,
right?
sloppy, but had a good face. Then he did another one, and another one, and another one. And he turned it down. He wouldn't take $1 million. He wouldn't do it. And it turned out that when they saw him, they said, you know, you'd be actually pretty good for this role. And he had never done this before, anything like it. But think of it, he turned down $1 million. He had nothing. He refused to let somebody else play. He didn't want to play it. He wasn't originally, he did it as a writer. But he ended up playing it because he couldn't find anybody else that fit the role. And who knew what would have happened? He's become a legend.
He is a true legend.
A true legend, and he's a great guy. He's a little bit tough, a little bit different, I will tell you.
He's tough, guy. I can attest to that.
But he's a phenomenal person with a phenomenal wife and family. Incredible wife, incredible family. His films grossing more than $7.5 billion, which is either a record or very close to it. I can't imagine anybody doing more. If you add up Rambo and Rocky and these others, I can't imagine anybody doing much more. 7.5 billion worldwide over the course of 6 decades. And Sly is a pillar of the really American pop culture and a Hollywood superstar like few others, and one of the biggest names on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. In fact, the only one that's a bigger name on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, they say, is a guy named Donald Trump. I'm on the Hollywood Walk of Fame too, if you can believe that one. But he's amazing. He's really amazing. And he's actually a great actor. Fourth will be...
So, of course, you know, I love that. And it's amazing. I think that, you know, when you... This is what the left doesn't understand. They did it with Dean Cain the other day. You know, when Dean Cain is a patriot, he wants to, or he is going to be a sworn ICE officer. He's been a sheriff's deputy for many years now. By the way, guys, I'm going to spell it out to you. Dean never has to work again. I know that you guys just keep going on about like, well, what's going on? Do you remember what I told you about the way that they do things? They cancel you and then they say, why haven't you got any work? Why would you ask work? Well, you know, some people don't have to work again, right? Like, isn't that the goal for many people, to be able to retire? Dean doesn't have to work again. And here's the thing. Dean Cain played Superman is one of a handful of people, I think you can count on two hands, the amount of people that have played an American icon like Superman. And Dean's one of them. And he was phenomenal at it. And everybody loved him until they found out that he was a conservative. Now, this is the same thing as me. I grew up wanting to be an actor. And I did it. That was a million miles away from me as a son of a single parent from a working class background, no money. That was, being an actor is ridiculous. Why would you ever think that? And I did it, and then I was in a double Oscar-winning movie, and I won National Television Award, and then I was in Rambo with Sylvester Stallone directing me. Now, if you get in a time machine and go back to the 80s, and you said to any kid, or even now for that matter, you could be in either Rocky or Rambo, directed by Stallone and with Stallone. That was every kid's dream. Well, any masculine kid's dream anyway. It's like, Rocky, what? We loved Rocky. I still play Eye of the Tiger. I play it for my kids whenever they're going to a game like volleyball, or when my son used to go swimming, or, you know, my other son now is just made soccer. Made a soccer club team, by the way. I'm just saying. I play that song going in there, and it gets you hyped up. If I never did anything else ever again in my life, I've played what most people consider to be one of the best roles in the Rambo franchise, in the second best, and for some people, it's the best of the Rambo series. I actually agree that it's the second best in the Rambo series, in the First Blood series. I think First Blood, Part 1, is brilliant, and I think ours is very close after. But I've been in a movie with Sylvester Stallone. You can never take that away from me. Ever, ever, ever. It's there. As he said to me, this is forever. So they can come on and go, what have you done? What have you done? Do you know, when I first left Coronation Street, everyone said that I'd fail. And then I got in a double Oscar-winning movie. And then acted opposite Michael Caine. And then got directed by Walter Hill. And then got directed by Michael Bay. I mean, these are people that are thieves of joy. They're thieves of joy. They've never got up in the morning and gone, how the hell am I going to put food on the table? They've never done that. And so at the end of the day, I can tell you, I have worked with Sylvester Stallone, one of the icons of cinema of all time. Not just modern, of all time. Stallone inspired people to bodybuild. He was in competition with Arnold Schwarzenegger. You understand how like crazy that is? Arnold Schwarzenegger is the most famous bodybuilder of all time. And Stallone was being compared to him. He wins an Oscar for writing. And then, which I think is a masterpiece movie, and nobody talks about it like this, he goes back and does Rocky Balboa and reprises the role years and years and years after he did it the first time. And that guy does not skip a beat. You are in there. That is Rocky. Am I right? Tell me, am I right? You watch that movie and you are like, this is unbelievable. He is. I can tell you because I've acted opposite Eric Bana. I've acted opposite Michael Caine. I've acted opposite Jonathan Rhys Davis. I've acted opposite all these different people. Ben Gazzara, Frank Grillo. I could go on and on and on. All these great actors. I've acted opposite them. And I've acted opposite Stallone. And he is as good as any of them. The thought that he puts into everything. He's unbelievable. I'm telling you right now, he's unbelievable. Honesty and truth in the house. Yes, the goal is to work, pay fair taxes, own a property, and pass on your inheritance to children and have a comfy retirement. Socialists and others don't want that. They're jealous of others' wealth. Sparkly line, first one of the day. I'm just saying, first one of the day. Sparkly line, to you, honesty and truth. It is, I look at these people, it's like, have you seen that billboard they've got going around in the UK of JD Vance with a shaved head and they've made him fat? I'm like, how immature, like, have we gone back to being at school? How immature is it that you think that that is some kind of an own? It's like, have you seen that picture of Charlie Kirk that they deformed in Photoshop to make him look like he's got really little mouth and a big head and everything? I'm like, you guys are just so immature. It's so infantile. I don't have any time for them anymore. This is that they don't live in the real world. It's the same people that are arguing for all these migrants to come in. They will be the first ones killed. They will be the first ones because they think, let's go help, let's go, nah. Did you see that? It's like that couple that went all across the world, and the woman got sexually abused by a bunch of, I think it was in Pakistan, correct me if I'm wrong, could be somewhere else. And then they were, I don't really blame them. I'm like, what are you talking about? This is really, really serious. And unfortunately, it's going to affect everybody, not just those losers. And that's why I see people, actors, and I say not all actors are like this, I promise. I'm just talking about me and Nick Searcy, basically, and Dean Cain. I'm just saying that just not all of them are like that, but pretty much all of them are like that. But not all of them, like not me. I don't associate with these people. But guess what? They still keep getting roles. Does Dean Cain? He does get roles, but not like he used to. Not, I didn't get them like I used to because they reject us. They don't want us around. Even though we'll be the first people on set, we'll be the ones that work the hardest, we'll be the ones that treat everybody the best on set, you will not. I challenge you to go and find a report of me, Dean Cain, Nick Searcy, Jimmy Woods, any of those guys, Kevin Sorbo. Go and look. What's his name? Rob Schneider. Go and look and see if there are any stories of those guys behaving badly on set. Go look for them. You won't be able to find them. Spider Unlimited in the his schnizzle. Sly was not only fantastic in First Blood, he was smart enough to make and fight for creative change that result in the production we got versus the one we would have had like the novel, An Ode to Vets. Sparkly line for you, Spider. But what I'm saying is, we take the mentality that we have outside of the job and we put it into the job. That's why I said, good luck trying to find anyone that's going to say anything bad about me on set. Some people might say other stuff. I had to laugh the other day because I made a comment on some liberal's ex, and this woman came on and she was like, we used to go to this club every week, and then when Kenny Thomas, the singer Kenny Thomas, when Kenny Thomas was playing, Matthew Marsden took the whole section in VIP and we couldn't stand there. And I'm like, is that supposed to be some kind of knock? Because I don't think it is, actually. By the way, when I used to go to things like that, I didn't say where people's, they give a VIP section to you. They said, this is where it is, so you don't get people hassling you all night. And when I was in Coronation Street, I used to get, the amount of dudes that wanted to fight me was unbelievable. And I'm like, oh. Here's the problem. Stallone, when he did Rocky, there was a bunch of people that they suggested for the role, including Ryan O'Neal. I believe they suggested Burt Reynolds. It was Burt Reynolds could have done it. But at the end of the day, Sly stuck to his guns, and those producers rolled the dice on him. Now, people go, oh, it's just a low budget movie. No, the movie wasn't actually that low budget for back then. And if you look at the writing is fantastic. His writing is very good. Obviously won an Oscar for it. But that movie was transformative. It's one of the most incredible, culturally significant movies. Like, how many people want to box or wanted to box because of Rocky? How many people said, I'm not going to give in? That's what it inspired me. I can make something of myself if I work hard enough. The cultural ripples that come from that movie are massive. And this is why our culture is so important. It is so important to make movies like that. And we're not getting them. And conservatives won't fund them. You might have to fund a couple of movies that tank. It's a Wonderful Life was a flop when it came out. Unfortunately, we are less concerned with the cultural impact and more concerned about the financial impact. And I understand what people are saying. I understand that. They're like, well, I want a return on investment. But here's the thing. The investment is the country. Because we have abandoned cinema for the last 20 years, this is where we are right now. This is where we are right now because our side has gone, we're not getting involved in that. We're not paying actors that much. How can you quantify what the actor gets paid? You just got to do it because you know what? Look at the impact, even going back all those years now, that Rocky and Rambo had. Look at the impact that Top Gun had. Look at the impact that Black Hawk Down. Black Hawk Down is a story about a disastrous mission where a bunch of stuff went wrong, yet it was made about the guy next to you and the professionalism of American soldiers, and it is considered to be one of the greatest movies of all time. And recruitment to the US Army Rangers went through the roof when that movie came out, yet you're showing people getting killed. Do you understand? It's the way that you portray these things. And what you've got is, think about this. You got people going to school and they're being told, oh, America's a bad place. It's a racist country. It's blah, blah, blah. And then guess what? They go home and the parents might go, no, that's not true, blah, blah. And then what do? They watch a movie where it's being reinforced and they're like, my parents are full of shit. Clearly, the world is telling me that America's a bad place. Well, guess what, guys? You have to invest in products that say that America is great. You got to invest in it. I've told you, I've got multiple movies right now that are ready to go, and I cannot get funding. Now, can they say it's lack of experience? No, I've produced multiple movies. I've written, directed, produced, and starred in one that has over 5 million views on YouTube, which if I was on the left, I'd be given the keys to the kingdom. But our lot won't do it. And I've had meetings with millionaires, good people. And then what they'll do you know what they'll do? They'll go, well, what have you done recently? I'm like, I don't even know if you understand this, but I was cancelled, right? Like James, you're going to turn around to James Woods and go, what have you done recently? Well, he actually made Oppenheimer because he was still plugged into the system and he got Oppenheimer made, which won a cajillion Oscars. But what's happening? There's a barrier to entry now for all these kids. There's a barrier to entry for us. I have an A-list director who wants to make a movie. I can't get the money for it. So what I'm saying is, if we build it here on this channel, if we build a network, a community of people, that's how we're going to fund these things. That is the trick. We can't go to this, but for the most part, business people do not understand art. They don't. I don't understand it. Even though you look back and Stallone had, I think, 2 credits when he did Rocky. He did Lords of Flatbush and something else before then. Then he did Rocky. We would never get that today. We'll never, ever, ever get someone, even with the amount of experience that I've got, with all the movies I've done, all the episodes, I've done nearly 200 episodes of television, and people still go, nah. And I'm like, well, I don't know what more you want. And yet they still fund that. I'm not going to say it because I'm not going to berate them, but they still fund these shitty Christian movies that don't do anything at all. It's totally, I mean, even I speak to, there's nobody more qualified than Nick Searcy, and he's in the same position. And the funny thing is, how often do you see, do you use an analogy? How often do you see world champion boxers coaching other boxers? Very few. There's very few, I can tell you right now. But you get people that might have had an amateur career or whatever, they understand the business and they're really good, they can see outside of that. Like if you look at like Rob McCracken, who trained Anthony Joshua, and he trained Carl Froch, who I love Carl Froch, by the way. If you look at that, Rob McCracken was a decent local fighter, but he's an excellent, excellent coach. Unbelievable. So there comes a point where you got to go, guys, we've got to get into the culture war at some point. Stop backing these people that all they do is do religious movies because they know there's a niche, they stay in, and that's fine. It's not going to move the needle. Rocky moved the needle. Rocky moved the needle massively. You know what else did? Rambo, First Blood, moved the needle. Honesty and truth in the house. Communism and fascism are purely different sides of the same coin, both oppressive regimes that destroy the population by food, wealth, supplies. Churchill, vote in socialist, you'll fight to rid. Honesty and truth, bringing the honesty and the truth again. I'm so glad you just stick to your name. It's awesome. It's funny because people think that honesty and truth are not popular. I know that's weird, but they do. But really, the people love it. The people love honesty and truth. And because you're being honest and truthful, you're gonna get some more sparkles on top of that sparkly line. I don't care. I can do it. So it's frustrating when you see the culture and we're not given a positive kind of outlook anymore on America. We're not given a positive outlook on Christianity. We're not given a positive outlook on what it means to come from a Western society. And so what you've got is academia. All academia is doing in the majority of places is telling you how bad America was and how, you know, black people have always been oppressed, even though now they have, you know, as much access as anybody else in the system. And by the way, they'll say that, yeah, if you watch the videos, I don't know if you saw this video, that there was a bunch of black kids around a black kid that was in a bathroom, and they're like hitting him over there, pointing a Glock at him. And I'm like, what is going on? And nothing from the left. No condemnation. Of course, what they'll say is, oh, it's a reaction to some kind of like, blah. There's no ownership. The reason why Konstantin Kissing couldn't get an answer out of those people, because they don't know what they believe. Zero in the hizzle. Gives 5 Matthew Marlson channel memberships if you got a membership from Zero. And I'll tell you who you are. Miss Panda 007. There's a panda that's 007. L.A. Gary or La Garrett. Gypsy's Animal Heaven. Dom collects. McShizzle. Dom certainly collected today. Gets a membership from the most awesome and handsome Zero. And of course, Zero, you get the sparkly lion. Because if it's a lion and there's sparkles, it's all right. We can do that. Because it's a sparkly lion. I'm not giving you the sparkles specifically, but the sparkly lion I can give you. We're like saying, no, no. So thank you very much for that. Zero is not a zero. So, all right, let's get back a little bit to what we were saying initially about what is going on in the world. What is going on? You can't tell me that it's some kind of coincidence that Canada all of a sudden has got massive immigration. You can't tell me that. You can't tell me that in one hand they're saying we're stopping the boats, in the other hand they're giving migrants, I hate the word. Can we come up with another word? I should do a poll. Let's come up with another word because I'm done. I'm done with calling them migrants. But there are all these fighting age males are coming over. Why? Like, there can only be one outcome, and that is there's going to be violence in the streets of the UK. Because what's going to happen is these perverts, because most of them get involved in these sexual attacks, right? They do. We've seen it over and over. Like, there's a disproportionate amount of these immigrants coming in that are getting involved in sexual assaults, right? And what's going to happen is some of the boys, the good old boys back home, are going to get out there. They're going to kick the shit out of them. And then it's going to escalate and escalate and escalate. And the police aren't going to know what to do. I saw something today. I don't know if you've seen it. It's Paul Joseph Watson again, who's amazing. He's got a video on this cop that comes round to this guy's house in England. And he's saying, I've got to come round because I've been told I've got to come round to you. And it's ridiculous. But, you know, I've got to tell you, like, not really to go to this protest tomorrow. And the cop is laughing because he realizes how absolutely stupid it is. It's utterly stupid. And he goes, I think it's ridiculous. You know that guy's going to get fired, right? He's going to get pulled up because they can't have that. But at that moment, I was like, all right. Now even the police are like, fuck it. This is just ridiculous. I am not some kind of member of the Gestapo where they can send me out and tell me to shut other British people's mouths. It doesn't work like that. And then, I don't know if you've seen, there's another video of a female policeman, which, by the way, I think there should be, I don't want to say no female police, because I think that, you know, female police in the same way, I think that, like, for intelligence gathering, there's a role. But I think, for the most part, it should be male-dominated. But this woman comes up and she goes, why are you shooting up heroin in the streets? Why are we allowing these migrants to shoot heroin up in the streets? What is going on? And she's like, what are you doing? There are kids over there. It doesn't matter if there are kids over there, by the way. You shouldn't be doing it in the street anyway. I remember when I was growing up, the only thing that they had were glue sniffers. Do you remember glue sniffers? And they'd go off in a field somewhere and they'd sniff glue. And every now and then you'd see them and it'd be like an episode of The Walking Dead, right? You'd be like, oh, stay away from them. They'd be like, oh, they had the big, like, you know, the thing from sniffing the glue and the bags and all that kind of stuff. And it was like, oh, now we're dealing with people shooting up heroin in the streets. What is going on? This has to end. I said it the other day on the show. Here's what's going to happen. My prediction is this. There's going to be a flare-up. There's going to be a flare-up. And it's going to be so bad, whether it's like someone attacks a young girl or something like that, and some guy's going to come in and just clobber him. And that guy's going to go to jail. Or there's going to be a terrorist attack if there's a terrorist attack right now in the UK, it's over because the people are just done. They're done. It is coming. There will be a terrorist attack in the UK, right? You can't keep importing all these people in and not have that. There are people they're bringing in from Syria, from Iraq, from Afghanistan. Our soldiers went over there fighting a war. All you need to get is one dude who was a bad guy in the Taliban, and one of our guys killed him, and then they're going to be like, right, that's it. I'm going to destroy the UK and the USA. People just don't grasp it. They can't grasp the fact that they're at war with us. It's going to happen. It's going to kick off, and then the UK government in particular is going to clamp down. Watch. They're going to clamp down massively, and that is going to make it worse, because I truly believe after COVID, the British people, and what I've been seeing recently online, the British people are going to be like, not a chance, not anymore, I don't care. You are seeing people that normally wouldn't say anything go out there in the streets. They're done. And if you have finally got to a point where you've pissed the British off, who are, keep calm and carry on, and now they're like, no, we're not calm anymore, and we're not going to carry on anymore. So you know what? Buckle up. They are there. There just needs to be that one thing, Zephyr. It's the one thing that's going to go. And I'll tell you this right now, the government is shitting themselves. And that's why they brought in that online safety bill. They are going to clamp down on people, and you are going to go to jail. There was a line that one of the guys said on that Constantine kissing trigonometry thing, where he goes, tell me this. They are not, because they're on both sides of this street, right? And the people protesting against the migrant hotel are saying, we cannot cross the street. Think about this. We cannot cross the street without getting arrested. But the migrants that are in the hotel, they're not arrested for coming into the country illegally. Think about that. A British citizen cannot express themselves or go over and talk to someone for fear of being arrested. The police are going to arrest them. But they're not arresting the people that come into the country illegally. How is that? How is that right? Like morally, that's not right. And it cannot be sustained. And I'm worried. I'm worried about the UK. I said it before. This is what's going to happen. The football hooligan generation, which is my generation, Generation X, and the football hooligans are going to save the UK. You might not like it, but they're the only guys that are going to get up and they're going to get their hands dirty. And either way, there's going to be conflict. And this is all down to the government being either weak or complicit. It's the same over here. We've got to get, guys, in the US, we've got to get rid of 7 million illegals to even get back to where we were 4 years ago. And even then, there were too many people here. Think about that. They've got to ship out 7 million. The UK, I heard yesterday, is pushing 80 million people. When I was there in the late 90s, it was between 55 and 60 million. It's 20 million more people. In an island like this, you can't do it. The infrastructure cannot sustain it. You can't. You've got a system where the water system is 200 years old. The sewage system is about the same. It's going to start failing. And trust me, when the infrastructure starts failing and you can't feed your people or shit's coming up in the toilet, watch. What we had in America is Donald Trump came in and he said, we are massively in debt. I'm going to implement tariffs, right? That's one of the ways of doing it. I'm going to implement tariffs because he knows he's got to get that under control and nothing else matters, right? Because people will see the economy first. If you live in Maine, you're not seeing the millions of people come over the border. You're not seeing that. But you'll know when the price of eggs have gone up. So Trump is trying to do something about it. He's trying to address it. And I think that this, and again, this is just, I have no evidence for this. I'm going to say I have no evidence for this. I think that Trump is bringing in the National Guard and he's taken over the DC police because there's going to be a big expose about corruption. That's what I think is going to happen. And by the way, again, I was speaking to someone this morning about tariffs. Some people say, tariffs has been passed on to the American customer. That's not true. It's not true. Toyota have eaten it. I think it was GE just announced they're investing $3 billion. I think it was GE in the USA. Apple just said $6 billion in the USA. It's happening. You've got to do it. And most of us are like, it's been a shit show for all this time. We'll deal with it being a shit show for a little bit longer because, like anything, you look and you say, what is your mission statement? What is your mission statement in your business? Where do you want to be in 10 years' time? And nobody has been thinking like that until right now. Actually, I'll tell a lie. Obama thought, how do I destroy this country or fundamentally change it? But Trump is in and he's like, we got to do something. If Starmer thought what is going on, what is going to happen in the UK in 10 years' time, he'd be shipping these people out immediately. These people think they're going to escape it. They can't escape it. Some of them will be able to get on a private plane and move down to El Salvador, which is now super safe, or Argentina. They'll all flee to the countries that abhor what the policies that they implement in their own country. By the way, I just touched my mouse and then poof, it's gone. Yeah, listen, if the Fed doesn't, the Fed has got to drop its rates by 1/4 point. If it doesn't, no, I'm back. The Fed is stopping us from growing now. It's clear. No, I just went like that, and for some reason it just shut down my whole computer. I don't know why. It's weird. But here's the thing. Again, what we are doing on this channel is we're telling the truth. We're building the community. Guys, you, my American brothers and sisters, are going to be invaluable to the Brits. You're going to be invaluable because they're really going to need you, because we're going to have to be there to say, stay the course. We got your back. And the thing is, if they don't sort it out, we will be taking British asylum seekers into the USA. And they will be the Conservatives. It is absolutely unsustainable. Unsustainable. So we build this community. This is why I'm telling people in the UK to come on, to like, to subscribe. If you've got a membership, re-up your membership. I was having this discussion today. I've had multiple opportunities to boost my numbers on this channel in different ways, and I'm keeping it the right way. I'm doing it organically because we've got to make the point. And unfortunately, there'll come a point where, yeah, the subs will go like that, boom, because there won't be anybody left in the UK to say anything. They'll all be shut down. It's coming already. Hey, Sandy. Hey, Marianne. We got you back. I'm not going to shut up. And this is why it's really important. They will shut up the people in England that are saying these things. It's going to happen. They have to do it. But I have a First Amendment right to free speech, and I can talk about it over here. Now, it might mean that I'll never, ever go back to the UK again, which kills me. My family are over there. But go back to what? What are we going to go back to? If you ask most people, why do they go, all right, let's put this to the test. If you want to go and visit the UK, why do you go? Watch the responses. Why do you go? Joan Lovelace in the house. Give 20 Matthew Marsden channel memberships if you got a membership from Joan Lovelace, the most beautiful and awesome Joan Lovelace. And it wasn't even right at the end either. I didn't even say I'm going to go. But, you know, this is Joan comes in. She's like, boom, at the very end. Soul, 1, 2, 3. Isaac, 556 times by 45. I gotta love that one. Carl G. Gizatron. Kowalico? I don't know. Master of Violence. Boxer Heather. Kathleen Torres. Obi-Wan John. Aidan Humphrey. Old Man Hatfield. Trevor Colt. Hold on. I've got to give Trevor Colt one. I'm going to give him a hard time when I see him. Stuart Lonan. Sophie Cat. PA Country Girl. Nice Spatty. Larry the Dino. Offworld. Kayo. Bella May. You all got memberships from the most awesome and the most beautiful Joan Lovelace. There's 20. So you get not one sparkly line. There's the sparkly line. You're getting a second sparkly line right away. I don't care. We do much sparkle. And of course, because it's Joan Lovelace and it's my show, you get sparkles anyway. Because you just get the sparkles. You just do. So thank you so much. See, Joan, she's got this thing where I'm about to say, thank you guys very much. And she's like, there you go, memberships. But I'm going to say this because Mike D normally says it, re-up your membership. If you re-up your membership, then these memberships that are gifted by these wonderfully generous people will go to others. We will build the channel. We can move it out. And when the zombie apocalypse comes, I'll be here supporting you guys. So thank you guys so much. All right. On that note, I'm going to leave on a high. Thank you so much for coming to the channel and watching it today. Amazing that they honored Sly today. It's really, really great. He really is an icon and a great guy. And I'm very blessed to have worked with him. We're not going to stop talking about the UK. We're going to highlight it. This is the community. Like, subscribe. If you're on X, come over to YouTube. I know you guys don't like doing it, but please link together because we're going to need this community. And as Spider Unlimited says, not all actors are like this. I promise. You guys are awesome. I will see you. Now, by the way, Friday, I'm going to go and have another scan on my neck. I'm going to have the operation done, guys. So it'll be at a different time. Okay? Probably be later on. Okay? If you want a night session, let me know. It's going to be a little bit later on, but it won't be at the normal time. Okay? So maybe. Hold on, let me think about this. What time am I going in? Maybe, well, I will trailer it way before, okay? So thank you guys so much. Like, subscribe, and remember, not all actors are like this, I promise. Have a great day. Bye-bye.